Good evening, everybody, or good morning, everybody, I should really say, and welcome to the Borderline Podcast with me, your host, Andrew Willox. Well, this looks very different, I'm sure, from the start. I'm using a video, I'm using Riverside. I would really actually want to do my first shout out. This is pretty much a video shout outs, by the way. I want to do my first shout out to Lachlan. I appeared on Lachlan's podcast last Tuesday, Project Reinvented, to discuss, anxiety, depression, suicide. And it was a really, really, really brilliant interview. And again, thank Lachlan so much. But it really it sparked the interest again to get back on Riverside and start doing some video recordings and whatnot. I'm doing a little bit of decorating around the house coming up, so hopefully I'll actually be able to tie in a nice little office and actually get a nice little setting to do a few more of these anyway. So, but the real reason that I really wanted to do today's video was to explain what's actually kind of going on and what has been going on, and just so everybody's up to speed. And by doing a video with a podcast with a video, it's for me, it's a way to re-engage again with people that started following this page from the start. And I guess that's where I'm going to start this video. Is obviously I put up the post last week that I was, I really was internally struggling, and how could I move forward with the journey that we're on? I guess is the best way to put it. And obviously, you will be aware that in December it started We Are the Universe. And looking back now, the idea was brilliant. The premise was still absolutely fantastic. It was raising awareness and money for charities, much needed charities at that as well. And in the process of that was setting a path of recovery for myself and potentially for others. What I didn't calculate was the fact that we're in the middle of a cost of living crisis. It was Christmas time. Everybody's extremely busy, including myself. I'm also skint. So, the middle part was never calculated. And I'm really sorry for that. And somebody that I absolutely from the start as well have to apologize and say thank you to, especially, is of course Yasmin. This is absolutely none of her fault. This is an internal battle that I've had within myself, and I can honestly tell you that Yasmin has been absolutely nothing but 110% with this. Like, really, she's an incredibly driven individual. I can't say that enough. And I feel really bad for her that it kind of happened so fast last week, and I think she was kind of taken off guard with it as well. And I just want to reiterate my point to Yasmin that it is absolutely nothing to do with her. This is something that I've been struggling with since December, and it came to a head last week. Is pretty much all that happened, and the reason for that, I know a lot of people had been asking, why so much change all of a sudden? Well, I can tell you that now. Basically, like I say, yeah. I'd started the We Are the Universe, and I put all my eggs in one basket, so to speak, and nobody came back to pick any of the eggs back out that basket, and that's absolutely fine. And that's like when I say, oh, people wouldn't share. People, I'm not mad. I'm not pissed off at anybody. That's just the way the world works. I can't control people. I can't control people. I wouldn't want to control what people put on social media. You don't want to create a false narrative. By putting stuff in that you're not actually true to yourself as well. So, a lot of things were miscalculated from my side, and I put my hands up and I apologize for that immensely. Because I know a lot of people were very interested in the concept and the idea. And again, that hasn't been lost. And that's why I want to keep on with the High Rocks. I want to keep on with the Edinburgh Half Marathon, the Great North Run. I'm going to go and doing all these things. It's just going to be slightly different and more direct charity raising at the time. So, High Rocks is obviously coming up in March, so I'm going to spend February raising money for that. What's actually really brilliant is the Edinburgh Half Marathon. Not only is it in the day before my 36th birthday, but it's also part of Mental Health Month. So what a brilliant way to lead up to the end of the Mental Health Month by doing a half marathon for a mental health charity. So yeah, like now that my eyes have been open to the concept a little bit more, I'm finding it a lot easier to deal with and process. And yeah, it just feels a little bit more streamlined now that I'm actually going to get my message out. So that's kind of We Are the Universe, and that's all I can really say. But yeah, sorry. So the reasons, I'm just going to take a quick drink. Probably be zero editing done on this. Yeah, so I lost my chain of thought there. Yeah, so the reasons why, of course, We Are the Universe kind of came to an abrupt halt. So I'd obviously I I'm not the very best at explaining a message, and the message was lost, and that was my problem. And absolutely, what I couldn't do was bring any bad light into any sort of charities, into any individual raising money for charity. And there was, not with indefinite, but there was questions of, because I was using GoFundMe, was that directly to the charity? GoFundMe still have all the money. Um, I've not I've not gotten around to withdrawing that and dispersing it to the charities. I'm going to wait until after the quiz night to do that. Once I know exactly what we've actually all amassed at this point. Um, so obviously, yeah, I can see why, because that is the problem. It's not like Just Giving. It's not direct to the charity, and obviously from doing events like skydiving, I think there was a misconception that people's donations were going to pay for them. That wasn't the way it was going to work. Um, it was never, as I say, that message was lost. If that was ever going to happen, that would have been from people outside of me and Jasmine, and that would have only been once we'd hit over the £5,000. We would have looked to help, you know, pay or do what we can to help you off in your own fundraiser. And that's what I was originally wanting, and that message was lost. And I wasn't prepared to go back and re-explain things, you know, try and, because it was just gonna become a mess. I think if I'd went back and I tried to fix it on, like, last Sunday or Monday, I think it would have just created more mess, and I would have been back to square one today, which I'm not. I'm well ahead. I'm feeling a hell of a lot better about the entire thing, which is proven, because look at me, I'm doing a video. So, yeah. Oh wow, that was fucking horrible distortion. Sorry if you're wearing headphones. Um. Yeah. So that's We Are the Universe. The Borderline podcast obviously comes next. So what's happening with the Borderline podcast? Borderline podcast is very much staying put. Again, last week, I'm very reactive to how I feel at the time. And usually, because I struggle, when I hit them sort of reactions, sometimes they just, I over exaggerate, I overreact at times. But that's just because the feeling is so strongly internal with me that it feels that if I push something away, that's it dealt with. And it's almost, touching back on the Lackland's podcast, it's almost a source of rejection, almost, that when something doesn't work, get rid. That's my defense mechanism. That's my coping mechanism. Get rid of it straight away, and then you don't need to deal with it tomorrow. And I think there was a lot of that mentality going through my head last week, that I thought that if I just push the button and stop, my problems stop. And that is just not the right way to think about it. Again, I'm not getting a small violin out, but I can't exactly fucking help it. It's just the way I think. It's just the way I feel sometimes. Um, but again, the reasons going into that, because I've been internally battling with self-criticism. Every post or every podcast. Now, I'm going to be very, very honest here, and this is not disrespect to any of my guests, anybody at all. It's that when I do the podcasts and we do them live, I genuinely listen. Like that's me, like, really into it. I don't really concentrate on what we're actually recording in terms of quality of sound or any, I'm not editing, producing while we're doing things. I'm there for the chat and I'm there for the banter. And so what I do after it is, obviously, I go back and edit episodes. And when I edit it, that's when I listen to little bits again, and I remind myself of things of, oh yeah, that's such a good point. If there's anything that I've said that I think, I don't really want to do that, I'll take that out at that point. And other than that, I don't listen to a lot more of the episodes. And again, that's not disrespect. It's because I'm so self-critical that that enjoyment would be taken away from me if I started going into deep analyzing. Because you know what I'm like, deep analyzing every episode, and that in itself would create a stigma of anxiety, and people wouldn't want to come on the show. The Borderline podcast would cease straight away, because I have to allow myself to be part of it, to really feel it. And what was happening was, every time I was posting something, whether it be on Instagram and a podcast episode or anything, I was getting anxiety straight away. You post it on, you start doubting, oh, it's shit, it's shit, it's shit. People aren't going to want to listen to this. Why would people want to listen to that? All these things start going around your head, and it's exhausting. It really, really takes it out of you. And like I said on the thing, when you put yourself in the focus of that, and you try and be honest, and pardon me, you are the you are the subject matter, it's really hard. It's impossible at times to pull yourself away from that. You lie in bed, you're sitting there, empty head, and the thoughts start going through your head, the anxiety. And when you're in a vulnerable place like I was last week, everything just amassed. Like I said, the We Are the Universe kind of fell apart, and that then spiraled into the anxiety again of, well, if that doesn't work, what does work? And I started questioning a lot. I over question myself far too much at times, and yeah. So the Borderline podcast is very much staying. I've needed this week off to really reflect. I've really went down on myself, so to speak. No euphemisms there. And I've done a lot of soul searching. I'd also, at this point again, like to give another shout out to Lachlan. He's just started a second YouTube channel which focuses more on spirituality and energy. That's right up my street. And when I watched this episode the other day, he was talking a lot about the stigmas and why he hasn't done like brought his feelings to the surface about it. And that helped me massively because it came to the conclusion that that is what I started doing as well. That was what I originally wanted to do, and that was break stigmas. And that is what I need to continue to do. That is my purpose. That's what I've been put here to do for. Okay. And as Lachlan said, a word on that that's just been resonating in my head since is that he's just out to make the world a better place, and that's exactly the same as me. And it was that sentence when I heard that back in my head, I thought, you're right, yeah, spot on, fucking spot on. So thanks, Lachlan. Two sources of inspiration in the course of a week. You're killing it, and that really helped streamline my ideas again. And I've had really good conversations this week with my mum. She's been just incredible as ever, really super supportive, telling me things I needed to hear as well. And that's crucial. When we talk about honesty, especially part of mental health, you know, you have to be honest with people, even if you know it's going to hurt them a little bit. And that just makes them stronger. And my mum and Sass are tremendously good at that, and I don't mean that in a horrible way. It's not like they're Andrew, that shit, get rid of it. Andrew, that shit, do this. It's nothing like that. They're very aware that they live with me. Well, my mum doesn't live with me, but Sass lives with me all the time. She can pick up on my moods, and she knows when things are going south and when I start struggling, and she'll subtly raise points in there. You sure you're up for it? You sure you want to do this? Just take a little step back. Can you remember that video? I really like that. And that's helped massively too. So again, the support has been absolutely fantastic this week again. And the result of that was obviously the video that I posted last night. It felt very, very good to be back in a place to make a video as short as it is. It's only like 2 minutes or whatever. A relatable content video that we can all relate to. And I think that message is very clear. And that's where I've been lost since December as well, is that I've never really got back to my mental kind of navigation, so to speak, that breaking down them stigmas and being true to myself, and the honesty has stayed, but the honesty has been displaced. And when that becomes displaced, a lot of negative energy and a lot of negative honesty comes to the surface. And what's really important when you're fighting any kind of mental health battle is that you have to determine what that limit is that you can allow yourself to go. And that's something that I fail at time and time again. So again, it's realizing, it's understanding that I'm not normal, and that's fine. It's just that I have to do things in a slightly different way to other people, and that's not life changing. I don't need to go out and run 10 miles to make myself feel good in the morning. No, I'm not coherently that much different. It's just that I need to slow down a lot. And that's a message that I'm sure I've been on repeat. It's because I get caught in the vicious circle, just like anybody else, that you feel like you're getting better. You have 3.5 weeks of absolutely up here. I'm fucking amazing. I'm doing this at the gym. I've got more money in my bank account than I used to have. I'm meeting friends. I'm doing the socials, yada, 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 yada. 4 days out of the month, you feel like fucking shit because you've just burnt yourself up feeling that good. And that's a common occurrence for me as well. And it's understanding that that is fine and it's okay. That's human. And it's finally setting into my head. And that's what this last week is really done and taught me as well, is that I'm in a place now that I can, or I think I'm in a place now that I'm back to where I was, that I can really channel ideas and create ideas that people can relate to. And once we relate to these ideas, we desensitize the notion and the topics that they're about. And like I said before, a video like that, all I want out of that is to, well, I don't need to hear it by myself, but somebody in a conversation, you see that reel the other night that Thingy posted about the sparkle in the candle? Pretty smart, that, eh? Made a lot of sense. Bingo, I've won. That's my job. That's honestly, we talked about, again on that podcast with Lachlan, we talked about, what is the goal? How do I determine success? That is how I determine success. That's all I want from this. Like I said the other day, I'm not here to get my picture taken. I'm not here to make a fucking buck out of anything. I'm really not. I'm not here to become this, soul loving, I don't even know what you'd call it, influencer. There you go. I'm not in to be an influencer. I'm here to help you, and I'm here to try and show that it's fine at times to feel this way, and it's so normal. And if we can relate them and we can desensitize ourselves to them in the process of, we start talking about these subjects in a way that is normal. And once we normalize it, like I say, I always say desensitize, but what's most appropriate is to normalize the conversations. And once we normalize the conversations, the stigmas go, because what is there to hide? There's nothing to hide. If we can talk openly about the fact that last Monday I woke up and I felt like fucking shit all day. I done the same on Tuesday all day. There was a big smile on my face and that, but nobody else knew just how bad I felt. That itself is a stigma, and that's what we need to clear out. And like I've said time and time and again, I don't want to be the one that walks into my 40-hour week job, or I don't want to be the one that walks up to people, feel like, you know, and it's a very fine line to get right. And again, we go back to the self criticism and the anxiety produced from doing it, is that when I get into that frame of mind, I'm vulnerable. And the last thing I should be doing at that time, and a mature outlook on that, is giving any advice. It's good to talk about what I'm doing in the moment to get better, and that's what people like, and that's what people need to hear, because that is how it helps you. And again, sorry, my rubbing the table. I've got a camera going all over the place. Sorry, that caused just motion sickness. Yeah, so it's just it's getting that fine, treading on that fine line, treading on that thin ice a little bit more careful. And I think, yeah, I really do believe over this week that I've kind of overcame that a little bit, and I definitely feel mentally stronger because of it. So yeah, I'm in a really good place. And of course, with that, Andrew's Anxiety Adventures, and as I'm sure you'll have all assumed, is back. And because of that video last night and a couple of the posts. And yeah, I've had some really good talks with Alan this week as well up at the gym. And a good kind of sentiment message that I keep on getting back from him is, obviously, people are interested in you and how you recover, and your story, and that's what people buy into. I don't mean buy in as in where's a quid. I mean mentally buy in. And, and sorry, I'm just so trappy on the money subject since we are the universe. And you know, yeah, and then I needed to hear that as well, because since then, like I say, these ideas of creation are coming back into the forefront of my brain, and it's nice. It feels nice to be in a place again that I feel like I can help you, and I can give some sort of advice. So yeah, going forward, things are going to be very much the same but slightly different around the page and the podcast slightly. So just to go on to that, I really am streamlining the page now to a recovery sense. Is that's where I am now. Last year was shit. Last year was horrible. We spoke about last year time and time and time and time and time again. And if you don't, I've got a whole catalog of episodes that you can go back to. You can even go back to the very first one, despite the fact that the sound quality is terrible, and figure out how we've got to here. Okay, so that is it. So last year was god awful. This year started pretty fucking sweet. And with that, I want to show you that it can be done. Like I said, high rocks, it can be done. I've just had an amazing workout today. I've added weight to my high rocks plan, a progressive overload. So we're interchanging workouts, we're interchanging strategies, and I'm never gonna, I never shout out here as to Sean. Uh, Sean's really opened my eyes big time in a way that I don't actually think he quite appreciates. Is that I was so like tunnel vision with training was just this because like of I'll go into something else in a second I was going to talk about. Yeah, because like I focus on one thing and like that's it. That's what Andrew's doing. You know, it was all your chest sessions and all your heavy leg sessions and all your heavy back sessions and knee abs and knee cardio and your typical I go to the gym but I'm not actually that fit. Yeah, that was me. And when I took Sean on as a PT, obviously he was the one that first planted the seed of High Rocks. And like I said, I'll be honest, the very first time that I trained and I spewed that night, I thought, what the fuck am I doing? Like this, I cannot do this. This is just extremely hard. And I hadn't fathomed how fit these guys were, how strong these guys were, and how mentally, focused like Sean was, and just like how well driven he was. And that really surprised me. And I really quite easily then bought into his idea and his notion that I could do it. It's just that to do it, you have to apply yourself in a way that you probably not applied yourself previous. And so, I like I say, absolutely in respect to Sean, I am never going to tell you the details of my workouts. That Sean, if you want to go find it out, go hire Sean. Trust me, it's well worth it. And that's somebody from Cameron that's trained for 14 years, and I'm telling you now, it's worth it. And yeah, so the training now is so enjoyable because I've kind of got into that area, that physicality, that fitness that I can really apply myself and I can really enjoy my sessions again because I feel that I think anybody that goes to the gym, you'll probably be able to understand it in this way. High rocks seems to be that if you're doing your conventional like strength training, your progressive overload plan, whatever that may be, there'll probably be a day in the week that you don't really like. Maybe it's a bit hard or it's a little bit boring or it's like cardio day. We all have one and we find it hard to motivate ourselves to do that day. I find that High Rocks is 5 days of that. It certainly felt like that to start off with. But now that I've gotten into it, I love those 5 days because they every day pushes me past my limit that little bit more. And I have to go into Andrew that little bit more just to get past it. And no disrespect for the people that focus purely on strength training and stuff like that's not what I'm getting at here. After this I'll be back to the strength training in some regard too, but it's the fact that it's making any aspect of fitness incredibly enjoyable because it's pushing me time and time again. And that little practice thing that the cable, Alan and Lynn set up on a Saturday, that was fantastic. Honestly, I needed that so much just to know in my mind that I could actually do it. And it's tough. Like I'm not gonna lie, it is really really hard, and it ain't for the faint-hearted. And I take my hat off to anybody who's tried it. Especially more so if you're actually going to go and do it in Glasgow or somewhere else around the world or Britain. Yeah, absolutely fair play, but it's tremendously difficult, and it needs to be respected because it's such a different way of training. So just to kind of go into that, if people aren't too sure exactly what that kind of training was like on Saturday, so obviously you do this without any breaks, and this was around about 60%, between 60 and 70% of the course, and we basically start off, we do a 1 kilometer run, and then into a 1,000 meter ski, or kilometer ski, into a kilometer run, into a kilometer row, into a kilometer run, into 100 wall balls, sorry, into a kilometer run, into 100 meters farmers carry, into a kilometer run, into the sled pull, no breaks. And so you're going at it there. Say time. I'm not actually paying attention to time because my goal is not to finish in a certain time period. I just want to fucking do it. And I think roughly that was probably around about 48 to 50-ish minutes. So pretty good. I'm really happy with it. The sled push is still you know, the one that causes me anxiety. It's that's the one that I'm really going to have to apply myself for over the next month to be confidently ready at. But we'll do it. And like I say, that the notion of high rocks isn't the physical. The reason why I'm doing it, well, the reason I'll tell you exactly why I'm doing it. I'm doing it for myself, obviously, because I did not believe that I could do it. I don't believe that I can walk into an arena full of more than 1,000 people without having any alcohol or cannabis or anything in my system. I'm being honest with the C word there, and you know I'm going to be completely sober, which I don't think I've ever walked into the hydro before sober. So that in itself is a little bit weird. I know that might not sound weird to anybody else, but if you suffer from anxiety, I'm sure you understand what that feels like. So there is nerves about it already. I'm not going to lie. The aspect. I'm going to get the train up in the morning. Just I want to be by myself that morning, and I want to do it my own way. And that's not ignorant against anybody else. It's just that I'll need to really tap into some areas that are a bit deep and challenging for me to really overcome it. And I'm getting there. I'm in a pretty good head. Like I say, I'm going to go and do it. It's just that I know it's going to be a little bit harder to go do it on the day. So we've got that, but I also really want to do it for everybody else, and that is exactly as I just spoke about. Um, a lot of people think, God, you're doing high rocks. Fucking hell. Fair play. Ken, that's 8 kilometer runs with this and that and that and that and that and that and that. Yeah, I know I'm fucking doing it. That's not the message. The message is that no matter how shit you feel, no matter how poor you feel about yourself at times, that when one person offers you that seed, is that you plant, grow it, sow it, and nurture it into something so beautiful as it grows. And that is what High Rocks is. I want to show you that if you can determine yourself and put in that little bit of courage and bravery and apply yourself, I know, trust me, like I absolutely respect how hard that is for some people. I'm not taking anything away from that. There will be people listening to this saying, I couldn't, and that's fine. I'm not saying you're weak. That's absolutely bullshit. I just want to show you that it can be done. And there's been a process of to get to that stage, may as well say end of November, middle of November time to March is quite a short period of time. So the applications had to be quite hard and brutal. And in that time, I've struggled. You've known I've struggled. And again, it's just showing that yes, I've been down in the dumps, and yes, I've struggled, but we will do it because that is the only fucking way we get out of this mental health crisis is by doing it and by being honest as we do it. Trust me, honesty, I go on about it all the time. Honesty is the best policy. But I know that's cliche. I know you're going to say, I learned that in primary four, Andrew. No, like I mean it. And I mean being honest with yourself is that if you believe that a time I can go and do it, fucking do it. Honest, trust me. Please, please, please trust me. Um, don't sit there and think, oh well, Ken, I'd like to give that a shot, but can I really be bothered? Because I'm just going to go and do the exact same thing that I always do in life, and in 2 weeks' time, I'm going to sit here and think life's shit and depressing. Yeah, well, get off your fucking ass and do something about it. I know, again, that might be brutally hard for some people, but that is the application that we have to go through sometimes to get better. And it does take, I've said it before. I'm not here to tell you to man up. I've had that spoken to me many times in the past. It is not nice. It is so degrading. It is so insulting. It is so condescending. Fuck you if you ever say it to somebody. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself with swearing on this episode. But I'm not here for that. I'm here to tell you that you can do it because I know how hard it is. And I would always, always try and support somebody that is, trying, you're out there trying to find a life for yourself, to find this coping mechanism, because that's all fitness is a coping mechanism. That is what everything is, really, is just a coping mechanism from life. We go to the gym because it makes us feel good. Because the other times we feel shit. Yeah, that's what I mean. Everything we do in life's a coping mechanism. So um, it's yeah. I'm not here to try and inspire and get a lot of people to go and do ultra marathons by the end of this month, but just know that it can be done. And a really important message that I want to apply in this podcast. It was actually on a program that I watched last week, and it really made sense to me. So I'm going to copy it. I'm going to plagiarize it. I'm not going to tell you where it's from though. And that is so simple that I can sit here time and time and time and time and time again, and I can say the same words time and time, time and time again. And it makes a difference for me, and it makes me feel like I'm doing a lot of things. But that won't change until you do something. And there'll be people listening to this that do not believe in a single word that I say. They'll probably think that, no, you can just get up and you can just do that. And it doesn't need to be that difficult. And to a sense, I agree with you. Not fully. It is very hard, trust me. Um, but here it is. But here it is. All I'm trying to do, whether it be the podcast, the anxiety page, what was We Are the Universe, or by doing these, physical challenges and raising awareness, is this: that I just want to give you a message that this is real and it can be done. And whether you believe in me or not, irrespective of that, all I ask of you is to take that idea, put it in a little box in there, and shut it away. You don't need to go back to it. But if there ever is a point in your life that you do, it's there ready for you. And that's all I ask. I'm just trying to give you a little bit of information, a little bit of an inspiration that you can really go on and apply yourself. The bottom of that is that I think it's fantastic on the Edinburgh half that it really is going to show how far I've came in a year, because we all know what happened on my last birthday and we don't want to go back there ever again. And there'll be a lot of emotion that weekend. There's going to be a lot going into it, and I'm really, really, really pumped already for it because I know I'm going to do it. I'm going to sound a little bit arrogant here. I'm actually quite impressed with my lungs, from starting smoking again, and that I am quitting now, trying to, proving a little bit more difficult than usual. But even with that, somebody that isn't really that physically fit as a smoker, I'm still going to go and do it. And I know this is really, really, really hard for some people too. So yeah, that is, essentially what this episode was actually really for. I wasn't coming on here for a big, palaver and whatnot. I just wanted to bring everybody up to speed, and I know that I am okay. It's just that, this last week's been a little bit weird and a little bit different to how I had been normal feeling, but I'm feeling a hell of a lot better now. I'd also want to give a couple of shout outs here that I'd written down on my phone. But my phone's on jars. I know I'm the worst. And that straight away, there's a lad on Facebook that I really he doesn't know I'm doing this. That is he's really giving me a little bit of fire as well. And his name's Ryan. I'm not going to give you Ryan Blakey. And he's went on and he started his own little his company. I think it's a power washing one. I just think that's absolutely amazing. That was really refreshing and actually really quite inspiring to see that somebody quite young is out there trying to do something for themselves in a very tough economic climate. I'm 35 and I've I know how tough the economy is now. Trust me. And at 18, to be on the Facebook groups every week asking for jobs, not getting anywhere, and then to go on and the minute that you turn 18, the possibilities are to start your own business and jump straight into that. Hats off to you, man. I really think that's quite commendable. So give Ryan a message, see what he's all about. Could be the start of a beautiful business. So podcast guests as well. Sorry, I'm going to finish. I'll just go finish off on podcast guests. So I'd obviously before last week, I'd messaged quite a few people about the podcast, and I've got quite a good little run of guests coming up. I am going to go back and message everybody today to see if they are still interested in coming on the show. I know that it's not really handy when I kind of book people in and then I turn around and say, by the way, I'm not fucking doing this anymore. That's got to be quite confusing. And No, so I do want to get back in it. I'm on back shift this week, so time wise, I don't really have much availability, I'm afraid, unless somebody can come around in the morning. Which morning podcasts, don't know. I don't know if I'm really quite in for them or not. I like my mornings when my workouts too, to be honest. So yeah, probably not this week. What I probably will do is get back into them hopefully next week. Wherever that means going out and doing a busy week. But yeah, so be it. I'm quite happy to do that again. We've done that before Christmas, and despite the fact that it was maybe just a bit too much at the end, we'll maybe try and do two guests next week, or two guests and half a guest, if that makes sense. Um, Half a guest be myself. Someone like that. Because I do want to get back into doing the solo ones as well, like I did, and kind of giving weekly updates. Because like I say, people are interested in the message of recovery, so it's quite handy, even if I'm just coming on here for 25 minutes to say the world is full of butterflies and rainbows. It's shining itself up my ass. Might be helpful for somebody. Last shout out as well. Sorry, or until I remember the next one. Ian Punton, that painting, honest the caricature. Yeah, honestly, you've no idea how buzzing I am. It's just the bit. I can't wait. Like I say, doing a little bit of redecorating and that is going directly behind this camera feed. I am just so made up with that, man. It's so surprised, and yeah, honestly, it really means the fucking world to me. And that's just really, 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 really cool. Again, what a talented artist. So take nothing away from the actual painting itself. It can't be easy, doing this ugly mug. And yeah, top quality. Yeah, go check out Ian and all these celebrities' drawings as well. And obviously the guys from the gym. They're absolutely brilliant. I'm sure he won't mind me saying this. Obviously I'd given him a message just saying thanks and that, and again the reply, you've really put a smile on my face, and the reply was, that's all I want my art to do. And it is beautiful. It's a beautiful message, it's a beautiful meaning, it's a beautiful sentiment, and I can honestly tell you, mate, it made the world of difference to me last night. But I mean, I wasn't in a bad mood last night, but my god, it put a smile on my face come the end of the night, I'm telling you that. So yeah, I think that's pretty much all I've got to talk about today. I just wanted to give you, an up to speed of what was going on, and a little bit more detail, because the last thing I wanted was people not knowing. It's not healthy for me. It's not healthy for you. It's certainly not healthy for the podcast. Not knowing if and how it was going to be going forward. So yeah, I'd just like to thank everybody from the bottom of my heart, from the support, from the messages of support over the last week. Have been incredible. I woke up on Tuesday, Wednesday. I can't remember what date. 17 messages, and that really, yeah, just yeah, I can't even put into words how much that meant to me. And I'm sorry if I've not replied to everybody. I think I have. I think I have. I do try. It's just sometimes I'm obviously a little bit slower. It's something to remember that I also forgot about to mention is that I still have a 40-hour a week job to maintain outside of this. So I have to take that into consideration, that I'm dealing with people 8 hours a day, and that's my source of income. That is my main job, and I love that job as well. So I've worked hard to be where I'd be, and I'm not on here to talk about my actual job and my work. I would never do that, but in a weird sense, I'm really starting to enjoy my work again, where I wasn't last year, and that's quite cool. So things are really kind of falling into place for me just now, and it feels that things had to reach that climax of last week to really just go, okay, let's reassess. Let's go back to the drawing board and let's do something, the way that I need to do it and the way that I want to do it properly and at a pace that I can do it so people can relate to it and not get turned off by it. And that is what I'm going to do. So things will be a little bit slower, and we might not see the posts of going into, philosophical terms and stuff like that. I think the message needs to be a little bit more direct. Sorry. I knew I was forgetting something. So a little bit of news, and this is uh, people can ask me for little bits of it if they want, but it's not something I'm going to actively put out. Sorry, 2 seconds. That better. Very dry doing this, and I've started writing a book now. Now people, oh god, now what's the foxy doing now? No, I came up with the idea last year. I've started to write a book because I keep diaries every now and then. I'll write into stuff on my phone, or or into my book or something like that. If I feel that I've got lot of good energy or a lot of negative energy, I like to write it down, and I like to go back and look at it. And from there, I'm quite a philosophical person. I'll align myself into a philosophical meaning. And I've been reading a lot of philosophical books. I've just seen my cat's just appeared behind me. There's Nisha. Ain't she cute? And yeah, so that's totally thrown me off. And book, yeah, philosophical. And so I've been reading a lot of philosophical, like philosophy books and psychology books and whatnot. And my cat's now using her litter tray right behind me. I hope that isn't getting picked up on the microphone. Nisha, you have to. Sorry. And, so I've started writing a book, and you've noticed on my page there's been tiny little bits of it coming back out. I'm not gonna. I'm not even in the frame of mind to even think of it as an actual book. It's just a load of information of how I felt throughout my life, and putting philosophical meanings and relating to them with other figures in the world. And I don't mean that's narcissistical ego. I'm not saying I'm like Barack Obama or Nelson fucking Mandela. Absolutely not. But by using quotes that they've used that I found relatable of how I felt at the time. And Nisha, sorry. And GI always does this. This is another reason why I don't do video podcasts, or I don't really like doing podcasts down in my conservatory that often. It's because we've got a litter tray right behind me, and she always comes to use it as soon as I start recording it. And you know what cats are like with a litter. They can't even you're not even scratching the litter. She's just scratching the floor at this point. All right. Uh Off she goes again. So yeah, book. And yes, I'm not even looking at there's not even any danger of me thinking, am I actually going to go publish a book? Am I actually going to do anything like that? It's just a way that I can then go back and I can use these messages that I've relayed before to relate to myself once again, and hopefully to others as well. So you might start seeing little bits of that and appear on the Andrew's anxiety page. Also, there is also the Borderline Podcast official Facebook page now. Go ahead, go and get a like and join it for all updates related to the podcast. What I'm not doing on there is sharing my really personal stuff. Call it the stigma as you like. I'm not quite there yet. Facebook itself is a totally different world to Instagram. Um, and I know this is again going back into the stigma. I know a lot of people in the past have had a little chuckle about what I've posted, or not said some very nice stuff about what I've posted, especially people that are close to me. Which I'll reinforce the idea that you don't need to fucking follow my page just because you're a friend. If you don't believe what I'm saying, don't follow me. It's quite easy, especially if you're going to go like a post and then go bitch about it behind my back. What are you? Go figure yourself out before you go put that energy on anybody else, because you're a confused soul. Um, it's very, very, very hard. Again, we talk about the self criticism. It's very hard at times, and yeah, right. I've totally lost the last 4 minutes. I've just rambled on ever since she started using her literature. So I think I'm going to end this episode now, because I don't want to go on a ramble, and I don't want to go on angry at anybody or anything like that. So, anyway, I hope this has been enjoyable for you, and I hope this kind of sheds a little bit more light. And if you'd like me to start doing more video episodes, just stick a little comment below, stick a little like saying, yeah, this was actually fun. Same with guests. If you ever want to appear online, I can sort this up on Riverside, and we can give it a bash on that. Podcast guests, I will be in touch throughout today and tomorrow to see if you're still up for the episodes, sorry, the recording the episodes that we had planned. I think I've got 5 guests lined up that I did have lined up beforehand, so we can really go at it. We're nearly at our 1000th episode. Obviously, not doing episodes hasn't helped that. We're obviously very close a couple of weeks ago, but it's obviously dropped off a bit now. I totally understand why that is. And so, yeah, that's a milestone I want to go get out before Hyrox. That would be pretty fucking cool to get a 1,000 stream, 1,000 download on that's just on Spotify alone. I think I'm over 1,000 in general when I apply all the other platforms, but I'm just focusing on Spotify and Anchor. The Patreon page that I went on, that is still in the process of being made. I'm just taking things really slow. The thing that obviously the idea of the Patreon was to create some sort of monetization back from the podcast, so I can start, repaying myself for all this equipment that I went and bought, and to hopefully raise some more money for charity as well. That is the idea of the monetization. Is that I do have an option, and I'll probably put this out in a poll. Is that I could actually put a patron style application onto my Spotify. What that would mean was the lowest that I can put it down is 99 pence a month. It's pretty good. What that would give you on Spotify alone is Nisha. Honestly, see what totally gone, totally fucking gone. Yeah, so what that would get you on Spotify alone is a little bit more bonus content, extended episode, no ad breaks, and some behind the scenes stuff as well, which I think would be pretty cool. Again, I'm not going to go and put that on and expect people to pay it. I want to get a little bit of evidence gathering, a little bit of information, data collected about. Because it is a cost of living crisis, and I don't want to make, like I say, the premise of this is not for me to make money out of it; it's to get the message out. So it's going to try and find that fine line to what people can afford, to what pays back, and what raises for money for charity without being detrimental to the overall aspect of the podcast. So yeah, a little bit of work on the drawing board there too, but I'm going to go out and I'm going to try and formulate an idea with that pretty soon. So until then, I guess that's it for me just now. I've really enjoyed doing this episode. It's half an hour long. I hope this explains a couple of things, and I really hope her doing a letter hasn't ruined this entire thing with the sound, because, yeah, like I say, the quicker I get out of this conservatory and into a room that I can, go and do these podcasts by myself, really at my own time, without any fucking cats coming and annoying me, would be pretty useful too, to myself and to the listener. So. Yeah, guys, I absolutely love you. To my mum, to Sass, to Lachlan, to Alan, to Joanne at work, to Pandy, to this, 16 other people that gave me messages last week, to Ian writing to draw on the caricature, to Jasmine just being Jasmine and just being class as per usual, to Shane again giving me brilliant. The list goes on. The support has been absolutely amazing, and it's not been lost on me. And I just thank you honestly from the bottom of my heart. Yeah, I guess that's it. So I'm Andrew Willox, and this has been the Borderline Podcast. Good night.